Greetings, friends! Welcome back to the Film Alchemist podcast, the show where we look at movies we love, break them apart, to find out what gives them their magic. I'm your host, Josh Griffey, joined as always by my mentally too unsafe to be on the street, locked up, clown mask wearing, and serial killer stat knowing and co-host friend,
Alex Tandino.
I made you that guy. I was like, there you go.
I thought I was going to be Busta Rhymes, but whatever, it's fine.
I mean, to be fair, I'm more of a Busta. Hi-ya! I mean, we've done enough of these. I can't keep making Michael Myers analogies for you. So, all right,
True.
guys.
That's a good point.
As always, we're on all the social media that you're on. Please take a second, follow, friend us, whatever process it takes on your social media. We're there too, and we love to connect with you guys. Give the show shout-outs, retweets, stories, shares, whatever these social platforms let us do that take over all of our lives. We appreciate it. In that vein, you may also email us. You can get a hold of us that way. filmalchemistpod@gmail.com with your suggestions and ideas for movies to cover, themes for a month, guest host, anything like that. Every December, we do Stuff Your Stocking. So now's a good time to get in early with your listener-selected picks for the month. We will pick as many of them as we can. In our rankings, we'll pick the ones we like best and try to cover them all. So get in early and get in good. Also, you can see our faces along with other content we produce on our YouTube channel, Nerd Alchemist. All right, Alex, that's enough for business. This is a big one. As you guys know, this October, we are releasing a horror movie every single day of the month. I know it's a lot. I'm glad that you guys have seemed excited about this too, and you've been doing this journey with us through the abyss of horror, the horror genre, right? We're glad to have you. And I'll say, when we picked Halloween as our big franchise, I was like, Halloween's one of the biggest horror franchises. That seems like a good start. This Halloween Resurrection, the movie we're discussing today, is the one that me and Alex are like, that's the one we can't wait to do, right? I was excited to talk about all the other Halloweens, a lot of classics, a lot of great moments. I remember vividly going to see this movie, and I loved it. I thought Michael Myers was finally scary again. I was super into this movie only to find out everyone else on Earth seems to fucking hate Halloween Resurrection.
Including Jamie Lee Curtis and John Carpenter.
I mean, okay, they're different, right? They're so close to it, and it's so different for them. Fine. I am here tonight, right? I'm not going to tell you if you hate the movie. I can see how you make fun of it. I can see how there's some things you're like, that's a weird choice. Fine.
Not saying that's not a thing.
My argument is, though, right? So this is... the seventh Halloween movie, if I'm not counting wrong, right? This would be the sixth or seventh with Michael alone, right? So Halloween 1 and 2, you've got the night it happened, right? Creating Michael Myers, creating Laurie, creating Donald Pleasant. Then we come back. We do two romps that are almost become this vampiric Van Helsing Dracula thing, right? With Michael hunting down his niece. There's hinted at some ritualistic magic. Donald Pleasance is all gnarled up, right? It's a little more operatic, right? This good versus evil battle. Then we get to Curse and Halloween H2O, because you started to see this, right? Michael Myers becomes a little blander, it feels, in 4 and 5. Then we get to H2O and Curse of Michael Myers. And at this point, it felt like, especially when I watched H2O, again, one of the worst titles in movie history.
Yes.
It's the 20th anniversary. Let's name the movie Water. So bad. So bad. By the time we finish H2O, which again has some fun moments, it's not a bad movie. I felt like they had nothing left to say about Michael Myers. He had become a proxy stand-in for Jason Voorhees as a supernatural behemoth killer. Right. What are they trying to say? What are they trying to add? We're going back to the well for an obvious cash-in, which is fine. I'm all for it. I want to keep seeing my favorite monsters on screen, right? Halloween Resurrection felt like, if nothing else, they gave us an interesting lens with which to look at the Halloween series again, right? While giving us Michael Myers kills and this and that. So my first argument in my case, right? My first plank. I love the opening of this movie. Right? So we start off on a Laurie Strode. You find a door. You see the door. We all know the door. When you open it, it can be heaven or hell. Right? It's cool little dramatic. She's almost Donald Pleasance at this point, right?
Oh, very Donald Pleasance.
Yeah, I like it, right?
Donald
She's
Pleasance.
like the bad... But again, it's fun because now we see Laurie is locked up. She's institutionalized. And in one of the great kind of going back and explaining how Michael got his head cut off and is about to come back, right? We find out that it wasn't Michael she killed. It was a cop, a father of three, right? She killed a guy and ended up in the asylum. Now, there are several things in this opening that I really like. One, I think it's kind of cool. This is something we don't see a lot. To escape this moment, Michael had the foresight to crush this guy's throat. Michael took off his outfit. Right? He took off the overalls. He took off the mask, which is supposed to mean so much to Michael Myers. It's always important he has that mask, right? Put it on someone else and sent them out for Laurie to kill. In Michael, after everything we've seen him go through, right? Even though they kind of hint at that they don't count many of the other sequels, right? Except for 1, 2, and H2O. They kind of hint at that with the serial killer fan.
Right.
Michael looks enough like a man that when he puts on the EMT outfit, he can walk through a crowded crime scene. I thought that was a cool moment.
I mean, I think that's what makes... It's like, I'm not sure. See, because like me personally, like there's some of that I'm not really... I thought that was kind of hokey, personally. But I get why it's interesting. And I get why people might not even think twice to look because, A, no one's ever seen his face. But also, more to the point, we live in a world where we are very polite and we don't want to say, oh, that guy's got a fucked up face. Don't look at him. Like, we're much more of this look away culture than we are anything. And especially in 2002, we're more so than ever, I think. So to me,
well, I like the idea of getting back to... He is a normal man, right? Like we had gotten so far off on this supernatural kick. And again, one knock I give Resurrection is they brought back my least favorite moment in Halloween history, which is the one-arm pull-up Michael Myers. I hate the idea of him having to jump to 12 feet to then do some kind of CrossFit, to then come down slowly like he's fucking Rambo. I hate it. It doesn't feel like Michael Myers. It doesn't feel like the inevitable shape, the murder. It feels like if a bro's like, God, I'm glad I pay $100 a month to work out with ropes, and now I'm going to showboat. And I hate it. Right. And they brought it back because they thought, wow, look at how cool that was, and it's garbage. And I hate it. That's the last mean thing I'll say about this movie. But what I'm saying, I like that this one gets a little bit back to this kind of putting a human inside the mask. One of the things I like about this movie, I like the mask. I like that the eyes of Michael Myers seem to matter in this mask, right? Like especially in 4 and 5, that mask looked like just a very blank slate, no eyes, no nothing that really felt emotional. This one brings back that there is just an evil man, right? Despite him doing some superhumanly strong things like foreheading a door open, headbutting a door open. I think it's called, not foreheading. That shows you how many fucking tough boy fights I've been in. Not over here in the soft boy corner. But I like getting back to that idea. I like seeing Michael Myers detach himself from the mask. I like seeing him be able to walk through a crowd. It reminds us that he isn't just this, muscle-bound husk that has an evil mask. It makes him a person. I like
that he's not just this unstoppable thing. Like, he's unstoppable in a lot of ways, but
he's definitely an unstoppable thing, but in that moment, he's not.
But I like that it's not just that. Like, because, again, it's better than just being brute strong. Like, brute strong is scary, but only when you're faced with it. I think for him to be able to have the wherewithal to walk through a crowd is a big deal because it means that it also sets up the gags in the house so much better because you realize that Michael Myers is thinking through this rather than just presenting himself.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I in that regard, yes, it is a little corny to me, but I also think it is it's good to lay the groundwork for later in the movie.
Well, because I think the big argument, right, I don't think people appreciate the reality show thing enough. I really like that. But I think this opening is actually a really strong kind of wrap-up for this Strode family story, right?
Right.
So, one, we're back to super badass Lori. She's got a pill doll. You're like, yeah, she's ready. She's fucking hard. We see that she sets up a booby trap, which I love, right? And there's this moment when she catches Michael in the trap, right? I love that moment where Michael's just kind of pawing at the air, right?
Right.
Because this giant murder machine that we just saw break through a door, and he's this, fucking unstoppable powerhouse, right? He's killed all these other guys. To see him just sitting there kind of helplessly strung up, it took me right back to this moment, right? It feels like Laurie and Jamie Lee Curtis are looking at this giant child. In that moment, he looked like a helpless baby to me, right? He's kind of pawing at the air like a kitten. And it takes us back, all the way back to Halloween 1. This is a movie that started when a young boy put on a mask and destroyed the American dream. He fucking murdered his sister, maybe because her boyfriend only lasted 5 seconds in bed. Maybe he saw a titty. We don't know what led this off, but he was pissed. And that's what started it, right? That unmasking scene in Halloween is iconic, and we really lost that through the course of the series at times.
Right.
This brought me back to he's just this giant child, right? It gives him this, he's not thinking enough, and it's like, oh, he's just doing what a kid does. I want this, I'll go get it, right? And there's a weirdness to that image that always stuck out to me, right? The giant man who looks like a giant child, though. And people always get mad because they say that this moment is character making a bad decision because they need to move the plot with Laurie. I like this Laurie moment. I like her grabbing the mask and then getting got, because there's three things I like about it, right? One, I like the idea that Laurie is traumatized, that Michael turned her into him, that she murdered an innocent man and ruined his family, right? So I think there is a cool thing that she's still psychologically shocked and not trusting her own reality. When Michael grabs for the ears, another very human moment from him. I like that they had mentioned that she was a suicide risk. There's a part of me that thinks maybe she wants to die so that Michael has to live in a tortured reality where he doesn't have anyone to hunt anymore. Then maybe if she sacrifices herself, what does he do?
I mean, I think that that's part of it. I think that I love that scene on the roof with Laurie Strode. I think that's fucking...
Well, people get mad. They're like, that's just her being too dumb. And I'm like, I don't think so, man.
No, really. I mean, again, like, this is... what did we say? Was this 7 or 6? This is 7 movies in, right? We're 7 movies in. We're 20 years later. Like,
this is the 8th movie, actually.
Is it really?
But Halloween 3 isn't part of this, but yeah.
Right. So we're 20 years later. Like, we're sitting there. We're dealing with the fact that Laurie Strode's still post-traumatic stress, but now on top of that, she's a murderer herself. She is, like you said, she's conflicted because she's become what she hates so much. Mm-hmm. So to me, it's not at all out of the character of Laurie Strode to try to see the mask. She wants to see the face. Like, that above all else is probably the most aggravating for her, is that there is just this blank stare at her.
Yeah.
I cannot imagine how frustrating that would be.
Well, I think there's a line they added that you could probably remove, right? Which is when she goes, I just need to be sure. I don't think she really is worried that she's... I mean, there is a PTSD thing about that, right? But again, I think there's this multiple layer... Because it's one of those things, you're like, you just watched him come into your room and break the door with his fucking face. You watched him chase behind you. He's never that far away where you're like, he could have put someone else in a Michael Myers costume, right? So I get why people, a lot of things in this movie, I think your immediate reaction is like, ugh. But then when you think about it, you're like, that's kind of cool, though. I like the idea that Laurie has this, one, what if she kills him? Then what does she have left? Looking for Michael is what's getting her through this institution life, it feels like. In the same way as Michael, she is laser focused on one opponent, right? She has become him in a lot of ways. So if she kills him, what's her game? Does she get out? No, she still murdered a cop. Yeah. You know what? Like, she's still in trouble. And then what if she sacrifices herself and Michael has nothing left to hunt and goes dormant, finally rest? And then she has that amazing line, right? I'll see you in hell. After gives her little brother a kiss and says, I'll see you in hell. I thought that was cool, man. I get how people groan when she reaches for the mask. We all know it's coming. But if we're being honest with ourselves as horror movie fans, that's kind of the meta baseball shit that I hate that people play sometimes. If you're being honest with yourself, you knew Laurie wasn't going to make it. You knew it. You knew it. You fucking knew it. You knew she didn't have 5 more of these, right?
Well, and I think
they
you're
needed
right,
to reboot.
If you take that line out, it becomes a much more cathartic moment altogether. So that would actually be my only disagreement with that scene, is that she says, I just need to be sure, because that is to me not true of Laurie Strode. What's true of Laurie Strode is needing to see the face.
See, I agree with that. I think that's like one of those things they added because they're like, oh, people are going to say this is dumb. And I'm like, well, you're just adding another dumb.
Yeah, you're just adding dumb on dumb. Like, it's not dumb. It's only dumb if you add the line. It's cathartic and fascinating if you just have her have this contemplative moment of reaching for something that she's been reaching for over 20 years. We're trying to run away from it, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's willing to reach for it means that she's finally facing her fear altogether. It's a very fascinating scene. I think it's actually really, really important and awesome.
Right, and because I don't think she thinks she's going to defeat him on that roof. She's
No,
dropped him off. If she drops him off the roof, he's not dead. She even said, are you scared to die, Michael?
So many times.
When she says that line, I think in her heart she knows the answer is no. All right, you stab him 50 times. You cut his head off. You do whatever. He apparently can regenerate enough to walk through crowds. Like, she doesn't truly think he's a goner, right? I think there is this moment of she just needs to have a moment alone where they're not running. A moment of stillness between these two, this spiral that their lives have become, this tragedy, right? So I think it's this cool thing. And I love at the end when Michael walks downstairs and finds his super fan and he hands him the knife. Because you get this weird moment of Michael finished his quest. What's next? Like, Michael's done. Michael did it. It's this weird moment of, I also retire now. And it feels really strange. And then he comes back and he's like, the world is full of fuckholes. I'm ready to murder more, right? And then he starts killing, the late 90s, early 2000s as a concept, and it becomes really fun again. But yeah, I think that opening is one of the funner segments in a series that had kind of lost its voice. It hadn't really found anything to say. It had become a parody of what Halloween itself created. And I think this scene weirdly has some really fun moments to help us look at this Laurie and Michael story as an arc, right? I find it fascinating, I guess.
It is. It's a great, to me, it's a great capper to the end, the Michael and Laurie story. Yeah. Because then you get to enjoy the rest of the movie, which to me is just like good time slasher film fun.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because I was watching it with my wife, and she was actually, this is good. Like, he's scary. The kills are great.
The kills are awesome.
The kill. We got a head crush. We got a food-obsessed chef getting stabbed in the door, and when he opens the door with the body still on it, I was like, perfection, right?
We also get a dope peeping Tom kill.
Yeah, well, the man in the mirror, right? The man in the mirror kill was amazing.
Man in the mirror kill is awesome.
Yeah, by the guy who's just, I think, this is the thing, though. I like the idea, right, of Dangertainment. I think this is a fun reboot. And I think it's maybe aged well, because at the time we're like, well, it's that. Now everyone does watch streams. Everyone does watch these things, right? And ghost hunters, and there's Instagram influencers and whatever. This is what I like about this movie is we kind of go back to this forgotten Haddonfield, right? And what we say is, this is essentially the Gordon Gekko version of this, right? Like, you could call this movie How Michael Got His Groove Back, right? That would be a very 90s title for it.
That's a very nice, good title.
But there's also the Wall Street version of this movie, which is Greed is Good. Michael Myers is good business, right? Yeah. And what Halloween H2O at that point in the series had become to me is it's talk is cheap, right? We're just filling up body counts. We have no emotional attachments. We're just spending time with our old friends watching slaughters. Yeah. And I think this movie has a really cool double layering of, so Michael Myers has become good for business, right? Yes. They didn't tear the house down. They're not, oh, you can't resell it, but people are going there. The house where they filmed Poltergeist still has people showing up to take pictures. So Michael Myers' real life house would be a tourist attraction. And what it does is, what if the cheesiest, shittiest reality producers that, there are a dime a dozen today, maybe not as many back then, said, hey, I can make money off this tragedy. Oh, yeah. And so them going through the house and finding the baby chair and all that, it's like, we worked in bad art departments. And you're like, that rang really true to me.
Not only did I work in bad art departments, but I worked production management for reality and documentary shows. So the fact, this movie to me is much more entertaining from an inside baseball perspective. But I think you put it that perfectly. Killing the early 2000s as a concept, that is pretty much what this movie is.
Yeah,
It's all these wonderful stereotypes of people who absolutely should die and absolutely should never be able to exist. And all of them have spectacular kills. And then, let's kill internet reality shows. They're terrible. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, it is. It's literally just these young people who are so detached from what made Michael Myers cool, which felt very true of when Resurrection came out. Trying to get famous off deaths, right? And so we see the demon baby chair and the fucked up toys. In Busta Rhymes, when he even gets caught, right, there's that amazing scene where he's in the Michael Myers suit yelling at Michael Myers
I love that
motherfucker,
shit.
I'm Michael Myers. I don't pay you for this. Because he hasn't realized his cameraman's been dead for 8 hours, right? I fucking love that bit, right?
That's a great scene.
But it's so good. Yeah. But what they do, too, is, again, it's the producer of the show not having the wherewithal to be like, there's the real bad guy here, right? Because it's so foreign to us that the evil's in the house. We only look at as Busta says, Americans don't like reality. They think that shit's boring. So we'd rather see this hopped up cartoon show. That's what Michael Myers had become, right? And this one is getting back to that. The evil's amongst them. They don't see it. There are real fucking kills. There's some weird moments, though, too, right? Like when Michael gives up his suit in the opening of the movie, I was like, oh, so there's a scene where Michael Myers had to go shopping for overalls and boots and a mask again, right? Unless he just has extras, right? He's got that Kevin Smith closet downstairs that has all the same outfits.
I assume he's got that Kevin Smith closet of jerseys for sure.
Yeah, well, there's also a funny moment where I was like, he's like, this is new fennel or whatever, the spice. And I was like, are they saying that Michael got the spice because he wants fennel-flavored rats? Or is this because everything else the show added is hokey murder props, right? So the mystery of the new fennel, I was like, maybe Mikey's down there spicing up the rats.
I think it's early 2000s. Michael Myers is definitely watching Top Chef or something, something along those lines.
If it was Tapatio or Sriracha, I'd be like, that's White Guy 101. Michael Myers bought the Tapatio.
But he's he's trying to. I think after he's done with this recent killing spree, the next Halloween was supposed to be him in Hell's Kitchen,
Yeah.
Him versus Gordon Ramsay. That would have been the fucking movie, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I thought them walking around the house is just, it's a fun horror show.
It's fine. Yeah, it's exactly what it should be. I'll tell you the thing I had noticed this viewing that I liked more than anything was everyone in the house does not believe what's happening. It takes literally Katie Sackhoff's head getting chopped off her head in front of them for them to go, oh, man, I think people are dying in front of us.
Shit.
Yeah. But what's interesting is everyone outside, not everyone, but the people that are watching, the kid from Smart House, Ryan Merriman, he's watching the feed and he's like, I think people are actually dying in there. And I was like, fuck you, dude. You're out of your mind. That to me.
What was his screen name again? Catfish? OG Catfish? That was his screen name?
But that to me is an interesting sort of thing that we do. Cause we've worked in TV and we've worked in reality shows. And that to me is more fascinating is that the people who are watching it are believing it as opposed to the people who are actually experiencing it. That to me is the meta narrative within this Halloween, which is it's real. Just prepare yourself. And you're not prepared, so watch Michael Myers just fucking stake all your friends. That is the true terror of Halloween Resurrection is that Michael Myers is real again, and he wasn't for long enough. But now it's scary.
I think maybe what the movie does. I'm always fascinated by movies that inadvertently give themselves story armor by maybe making bad choices, right? I find that fascinating. And this feels like that, though, because the movie itself is a critique on what the series had become and us as horror movie watchers, right? The kids all leaving a party to watch this, and when we see the first girl get murdered, right, the redhead down in the basement, and she gets staked, and Michael's looking. We get the POV of him looking, right? Evil, up close and personal, in our face. We can see this Michael's eyes, man. It's right there. All the kids laugh. Yeah, that was so fake. And that's how we are when we watch the Halloween series. We love the body count, right? Because it's fake to us. And this one is saying, what if that was real tragedy, you know? And so I think that becomes this kind of fun narrative. And again, there are moments of hokiness. There's some funny, but like a moment of hokiness, right? Let's do this. I fucking love some of the moments of hokiness. Busta Rhymes is amazing. Karate fighting Michael Myers. Busta Rhymes not being in Halloween 2018 to get like him and Old Lady Lori tag team Michael Myers is one of the biggest letdowns of my life now. Because I want, and again, it's the Michael versus Freddy movie that we all knew we wanted, right?
Right.
But like, I want Freddy to come back in this series so bad. Because it's just, when he fucking karate kicks Michael Myers out the window, it is fucking spectacular.
It is.
It's
great.
Fucking spectacular, dude. I mean,
how can you hate a moment like
People
that?
laughed at, and you're like, what else do you want? Like, what? This is what I would ask, right? So the movie fills, these are like kind of my rules for these movies. It fills the house with fun enough characters to spend time with. Like, it's really weird that they're like, what should one of our characters be? Obsessed with diet and how that makes me. Oh, okay, it's something. At least he'll get a great gag of throwing salt in Michael Myers' eyes. He'll blood sport him with, cooking spices. But I was like, that's fine. It's something. It's something. They're all likable. But you know what I mean? They fill the house with likable enough archetypes. We get some slaughters. The kills are good. The pacing's fine. Michael Myers actually is kind of scary in this one. I don't know what the problem is. I mean, people online are like, oh, you're so devoid. You don't care about the kills. I'm like, did you care about the kills in H2O? Did you care about who got killed in Curse of Michael Myers? Like, we have to be more honest with ourselves as fans, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these series, like when you watch Jason Takes Manhattan, right? That movie's not scary. You're not worried for the kids. You are excited to see them get slaughtered.
I think that's the thing that Halloween Resurrection does better than any of the other Halloween movies besides the first one, which is, or I guess in the second one too. But like, it literally is. It is a movie that should be a guy sitting on screen. Like the movie should start, a guy plops himself down and goes, well, what are you expecting this time? Like literally just staring dead into the camera. Like, what do you expect to happen this time in this movie? Like,
come on,
we're trying to make this fresh. So come on, like, what do you really want to happen? Because honestly, like at that point, like we're in a situation where Scream's already come out, and everything now is basically a parody of itself, more so than ever. Halloween, like Halloween H2O is entertaining, but not nearly as interesting as Halloween Resurrection, simply because it falls victim to that like late '90s, early 2000s heartthrob, let's make a sexy movie thing. Yeah. And so to me,
it literally feels like it has nothing to say about the characters.
Halloween Resurrection does a great job of saying everything you need to know that's maybe new, and then they give you exactly what you're asking for from a Halloween movie. I don't understand the level. I understand people not liking this movie maybe as much as you would like the first one, perhaps. But to say it's a shitty movie and dismiss it out of a hat just seems like you're not watching it and you're being like needlessly glib just because a movie gave you exactly what you asked for but tried a new spin.
Yeah,
that's insane.
Well, there are things about it that I guess you could say are clunky, but they all have that. I like the idea of Michael Myers is good for business, right? That Michael Myers, after killing Laurie Strode,
it's genius.
He's essentially an entity of evil reborn in the modern America of that time, right? Which is, he is the monster that we want on our screen. We love when a Michael Myers arises, right? Whereas in Halloween 2, they're throwing rocks at the house. They want to burn it down because they're sick of this shit. They're like, oh, damn it, I wanted to have fun this weekend. In this Haddonfield, you get the idea that people are going to be ecstatic that this happened because it's live streams, it's shows, it's, Netflix docuseries, whatever. Michael Myers being reborn as something that we want, right? He kills Laurie on his first mission, right? His old druidic magic mission, whatever. And he hands the knife out. He's done until he goes home and he's like, fuck, you guys aren't done with me. Right? You keep fucking dressing me up and rolling me out because you love this shit, right? The teenagers are cheering. You're all cheering, right? I bring the people to this house who pull their tits out. And this is how, I give back to the world. And is it weird that she attacks Michael Myers with a chainsaw? Fine, I guess. I don't. Like, that shit doesn't bother me, right? Michael Myers survives getting hung. He does that in every movie. Yeah. So for me, it's the characters are fun. It has something to say at least a little bit, right? That Michael Myers is now the monster we won't let die, right? Instead of he won't die because of his druid magic, we won't let him go, right? That's enough of a lens for me. When you're on your 8th movie, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but have something to add. And I feel like, and again, even if all they added was Busta Rhymes, who is shockingly good, and I can't believe that he didn't get more roles out of this. He's so fun. He's so fucking fun, dude. When he just comes in, he's like, whoa, and fucking squares up Chun-Li or whatever the movie he was watching with Mikey. I was like, the line, I mean, it's an all-time line. Every Halloween, we've all said to our friends, trick or treat, motherfucker, right? All the time we say that because Busta gave that to us. And I love it.
Every time.
He's fucking great, man.
Again, this is the thing I like the most about this movie is just it's what I expect. And there are my major gripe with the movie is in the climax, the girl, I can never remember her name. I know she's that girl from Rules of Engagement. But she is like trapped on the floor and like it's literally a mixer like the size of the one I have in front of me on my desk. I'm like, listen, I kicked that thing by accident one time. Surely you can get moving. It's not that difficult. Yeah. And that was like my only complaint of this movie. But this I love how I'm holding up on camera. It's my child's nose cleaner outer ball. That's a weird thing that just ended up on my desk. Getting rid of boogies, huh?
Yeah, parenthood, right? The true whore, right? But no, I was saying this earlier. I love movies that maybe by accident stumble into story armor, right? This whole movie plays as if it is Busta Rhymes' fantasy of what he wishes he was showing people, right? We don't like reality. We want to see this hopped up wild version. So at the end with the chainsaws and the whatever, it plays as Busta Rhymes telling the cameraman like, and then I came in and hit this motherfucker with the kick, and there were chainsaws everywhere, and she was stuck by, I didn't really see it. It was probably something, it has this kind of comical ridiculousness to it, which again, to be fair, we'd kind of hit that point, man. If I had one gripe with the film, besides the fucking pull up Rambo moment, if I had a gripe, it's the fact that, again, we have our dope trope, right? A psychology or English class that lays out the theme for us as a lesson, right? We love doing that in Halloween movies.
Love it. Perfect.
Yeah. And actually, a lot of Nightmare does this. A lot of these do this. That's why it's a dope trope. What I like, though, this movie hints at some kind of supernatural ability for Sarah. Is that the lead character's name? When she screams and blows up the glass, right? I was like, oh my God, she has some kind of supernatural power as well, the Banshee. She screams in the house and everyone's like, turn the volume down. The fact that at the end, that is not used as a weapon against Michael Myers. If she would have, instead of jumping out with the chainsaw, she jumps out and is like, and Scott Pilgrim's his ass to like slip on blood. Right? That would have been
there's a missed opportunity,
so weird and wild. Because again, I think they were hinting at something more, like maybe she's part of the Strode clan. Because she sees Michael in the reflection when she's getting her sexy outfit. And she knows what he looks like right now. Right? Which lets me know, this is her having that Halloween 2 psychic connection moment. So they hint at her seeing the ghost. There's a cool one when she comes up to the house she sees Michael in the window and doesn't trust it because she thinks it's a vision again. It's not. But so that gets back to this. It felt like there was going to be, this is almost like a Jason the New Blood, right? Friday the 13th New Blood, where they just are like, we don't want to pay for the rights to carry, but we'll just have another telekinetic girl smack him about. It felt like they were about to do that. Because if at the end she opens up with like a Banshee's wail, what better image for the final girl than I literally defeat you by the classic screaming because I'm so weak and frail, but turn it into a fucking I am woman, hear me roar, and she blows his ass out of the garage. That moment I would have loved.
It's a missed opportunity. Did you know that actress, the woman who plays Sarah, that scream is dubbed? She was unable to scream.
She was not a good screamer.
She was not a good screamer, so they dubbed her scream.
It feels strange because it feels like that would be an important part of the casting process.
That's what I thought.
I guess it wasn't.
I actually was like, did anyone cast the movie? Or did she just walk on set? They're like, you, go for it. Whatever you want.
Your star's burning white hot. Let's get in here. I would have liked to have seen that supernatural part play out a bit.
Sure.
But yeah, man, I liked it. I thought the final little beat with melted face Michael coming back was great. I liked one of the scenes that I really love. I love Freddy, Busta Rhymes coming in at the last second. He's like, no cameras. We're done. Like, he's had this complete emotional about face. He's like, here I was earlier, like, I just want to split up the profits on this fake murder house. To literally, like, right. Michael Myers. What does he actually say? He's a great white killer shark in baggy ass overalls. He's here to destroy. I was like, I love that Freddy has done this about face and is still getting in front of the camera, but he's also like Donald Pleasencing. Because it felt like there was a world where if this movie was successful, Sarah becomes our new psychically screaming enhanced Laurie Strode, and Busta Rhymes as Freddy becomes our modern Donald Pleasance.
Ooh, yeah, I would have.
And this becomes their fight versus the evil now. This new modern evil of greed and Netflix docuseries. I think there's a world where this could have been a fun run for them.
Major missed opportunity.
We have 3 more new Halloween movies. It would be one of those things, and I feel like maybe most fans would be bitchy about it, but I think there's a world where we could all get behind this. If Halloween Kills or the third one come out, and Laurie's about to get it, one of the Strode girls, and Busta Rhymes just, whoa, slow-mo kick, runs in and kicks the fuck out of Michael Myers. I think the crowd would erupt in cheering. Like, yeah.
I mean,
because I do think as much as people hated this movie, I think most of us enjoy Busta Rhymes.
Yes. I think that's undeniable. However, yeah, I mean, I would actually just give Busta Rhymes his own movie where he's in pursuit of Michael Myers. The pursuer. The pursued now is the pursuer.
That's what I mean.
But
so do like a Phantasm 2 setup, yeah.
Yeah, but like not doing a podcast like they were doing in the new Halloween movie.
Yeah, right.
Well,
I just think it'd be cool.
Why did they interview that guy?
So you bring back all of these other Halloween characters. They're all survivors that are broken like Laurie Strode. Just bring them back, dude. Let's form an Avengers-style team, right, to fucking whoop old Michael Myers' ass.
I think it sucks that they didn't bring him back for that they weren't that should have been the first scene in the new Halloween movie is Busta Rhymes being interviewed like, I survived. Well, what'd you say to him when you saw him? Trick or treat, motherfucker. Like that. I mean, come on, man.
And then they're like, you didn't say that. And he's like, I did fucking say that.
I got fucking video. It's on my real time. It's on my
What I love about Freddy is as soon as he says that, all his friends will be like, bullshit. You said that to me.
They say bullshit. And also, we don't know no. Here, hang on. Let me download Real Player 8 and I'll show you. And that's how he does it.
Yeah, because we saw Michael's pop up at the end. We knew Michael was coming back. I would have run it back with Busta one more. Because after this, we went hard reboot back into Rob Zombie. And I like what Rob Zombie did, but I would have liked to see another one with Busta. I think I could have done it. I would like to see him get a comeback one more time, man. But to wrap this thing up, right? I just think it's a movie, because this is the thing. I think the opening is this kind of really cool, almost love letter to what the series had been and where we were, and you had to do your send-off, right? I think, again, if this movie was just Laurie versus Michael for another whole movie, all right, like it probably would have been fun in the asylum. It would have that vibe of Halloween 2 in the hospital. All right.
Right.
I think they got in, they got out, they gave us this kind of cool brother-sister thing. Like, we finished our journey. I thought there was some really interesting stuff going on in the opening. And then they just rebooted. And I guess if I see something people say, right, is we just rebooted with a bunch of fairly unmemorable archetypes in a house, right? They get killed. Right. Fine, but they get killed in spectacular fashion. And that the house itself and Michael Myers and Haddonfield get this weird kind of update on what they are, right? This Culture that loves having a Michael Myers instead of being the small town that throws rocks at that house.
Right.
So I think that's it, man. When you're on your 8th movie, this is what I look for, right? I already know Michael Myers. I've already seen him do the kills. I already know about Laurie. Give me 1 or 2 extra things that let me think about the series in a different way, right? Let me come at it from a different perspective, because I've done all the Halloween stuff, man. I want to have fun, and I want to get a little new lens with which to examine the series.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, that's all you need. That's what you need for Halloween, because otherwise it does sort of devolve into this, like, yeah, I get what's going to happen again. Because then, like, to me, and granted, I think it's really an enjoyable movie, but that's how you get, like, something like Jason X, which is enjoyable, but, like, you know what's going to happen. I think by for one, getting rid of Laurie Strode at the very beginning of the movie, and then framing it as this thing we all hate, which is reality TV and like reality production and all this other shit, you get a whole new flavor for Michael Myers, and something that I think had been missing for a little bit, which is like a new version of actual fear for it. It's good.
Yeah, him actually being this kind of scary hunter again, seeing his actual human eyes, man. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's what I like, right? We watch this reality TV show House, and what Busta says is pretty true, right? We don't like reality. And so we pulled it's kind of what happens to Jason, it happened to Freddy. The more of these movies we get, the further away we get from what made them scary, and they just become these big cartoon characters. And so this movie kind of steered into that. They said, what if he was a cartoon character on this stupid-ass reality show? And it kind of gave him some new life. It was a little new zest, man. I liked it, you know? And again, I don't think most characters in a Halloween movie are there for a long time. They're there for a good time. And I had a good time with this movie.
You said it right there, man. That's it.
I'm just saying, when I go on Letterboxd and this movie's a 1.7 out of 5, I'm like, guys, did this movie really under-deliver based on what you thought it would be after having watched The Curse of Michael Myers and Halloween H2O? You really don't think that this is on par? I would say Halloween 1, Halloween 4, probably a little higher. Maybe if you start doing the rankings, like, I don't think this is like one of the all-time best ones. But is it really much worse than a lot of these Halloween movies? Come on, guys. Be real with yourselves. Yeah, grow up. Which cameras are you fronting for, guys? Be honest with yourselves. This is America's problem. We can't be honest with ourselves. Yeah, I'm here, man. I am a lover of Halloween Resurrection. I actually thought about it. I would love to do this as a live stream someday and just watch along and go shot for shot and tell people why they should love this movie.
True.
Because, yeah, it's one of those I can't believe the hatred it has, but... hopefully we swayed you a little bit, showed you some things that we thought were interesting. We're almost done with the Halloween series. Tomorrow we move into Rob Zombie Land. This is the worst family breakfast table of all time. It's fucking brutal. If I had mentioned earlier I thought Halloween Resurrection helped make Michael scary again, Rob Zombie made him absolutely as scary as I've ever seen him. Truly a horrific vision of this fucking Michael Myers character in this family. So we'll be doing that, guys. Again, we covered Scream and a lot of other great movies. We still have Evil Dead to come. So a lot of movies this month. I hope you've enjoyed them all. Candyman, we got stuff everywhere, guys. Download all of them. Please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you find podcasts. You can find a link to the audio version in the YouTube description. If you're on our YouTube channel, that is Nerd Alchemist, where you can look at our faces, our unmasked human faces. While you listen to our voice, you can find us on all the social media that you're on. Get at us, message us, share us, retweet us, whatever. Contact us. You can also email the show, filmalchemistpod@gmail.com, with your ideas for movies, themes, guests, double features, new stuff, old stuff. If you want to get in your selection for December, where we stuff your stocking, that's a great way to do it. Get in early and get in good. All right, guys, tomorrow, fucking button up your overalls. It's going to get messy as we enter Rob Zombie's Halloween. For the Film Alchemist, I'm Josh Griffey.
I'm Alex Dandino.